Good morning. Thank you for joining with me. We are reading out of A Course in Miracles, complete and annotated edition, edited by Robert Perry. We are in the Workbook for Students, Part 1 of the workbook, on Lesson 188. The peace of God is shining in me now. Why wait for heaven? Those who seek the light are merely covering their eyes. The light is in you now. Enlightenment is but a recognition, not a change at all. Light is not of the world, yet you who bear the light in you are alien here as well. The light came with you from your native home and stays with you because it is your own. It is the only thing you bring with you from Him who is your source. It shines in you because it lit your home and leads you back to where it came from, and you are at home. This light cannot be lost. Why wait to find it in the future or believe it has been lost already or was never there? It can so easily be looked upon that arguments which prove it is not there become ridiculous. Who can deny the presence of what he beholds in him? It is not difficult to look within, for there all vision starts. There is no sight, be it of dreams or from a truer source, that is not but the shadow of that seen through inward vision. Footnote 385. This means that there is no sight that looks out at the world, whether it be seen of physical forms or seen with Christ's vision, that is not merely the shadow of what we see when we look within. There perception starts and there it ends. It has no source but this. The peace of God is shining in you now. 386. The peace of God is the same thing as the light that is discussed in the first two paragraphs. This is made especially clear by the fact that the peace of God is shining. The peace of God is shining in you now, and from your heart extends around the world. It pauses to caress each living thing and leaves a blessing with which it remains forever and forever. What it gives must be eternal. It removes all thoughts of the ephemeral and valueless. It brings renewal to all tired hearts and lights all vision as it passes by. All of its gifts are given everyone, and everyone unites in giving thanks to you who give and you who have received. The shining in your mind reminds the world of what it has forgotten, and the world restores the memory to you as well. From you, salvation radiates with gifts beyond all measure, given and returned. To you, the giver of gifts, does God Himself give thanks, and with His blessing does the light in you shine brighter, adding to the gifts you have to offer the world. The peace of God can never be contained. Who recognizes it within himself must give it, and the means for giving it are in his understanding. He forgives because he recognizes the truth in him. The peace of God is shining in you now and in all living things. In quietness, it is acknowledged universally. For what your inward vision looks upon is your perception of the universe. Footnote 387. The last two sentences of this paragraph seem to mean that when we are quiet and feel the peace of God within us, we will perceive this peace everywhere in all living things. We will acknowledge it universally. Sit quietly and close your eyes. The light within you is sufficient. It alone has power to give the gift of sight to you. Exclude the outer world and let your thoughts fly to the peace within. They know the way. For honest thoughts, untainted by the dream of worldly things outside yourself, become the holy messengers of God Himself. These thoughts you think with Him. They recognize their home, and they point surely to their source, where God the Father and the Son are one. God's peace is shining on them, but they must remain with you as well, for they were born within your mind as it was born in God's. They lead you back to peace from where they came, but to remind you how you must return. They heed your Father's voice when you refuse to listen, and they urge you gently to accept His word for what you are instead of fantasies and shadows. They remind you that you are the co-creator of all things that live. For as the peace of God is shining in you, it must shine on them. We practice coming nearer to the light in us today. We take our wandering thoughts and gently bring them back to where they fall in line with all the thoughts we share with God. We will not let them stray. We will let the light within our minds direct them to come home. We have but betrayed them, ordering that they depart from us. But now we call them back and wash them clean of strange desires and disordered wishes. We restore to them the holiness of their inheritance. The concept in this paragraph is that we have taken the thoughts we share with God and betrayed their purity by tainting them with strange desires and disordered wishes, thus turning them into our current ego-based thoughts. As a result, they have had to leave the home we share with God, being out of accord with it, and have wandered, hold that thought, far from that place of purity. Our job now then is to purify them, wash them clean, gently bring them back to their original holiness. Once thus purified, they become honest thoughts, untainted by the dream of worldly things, which actually lead us back to peace, back to their home and ours. This process of washing our thoughts clean so that they can revert back to their original nature as honest thoughts, and then letting them guide us to the peace of God within, is what we are meant to do in our meditations today. Thus are our minds restored with them, and we acknowledge that the peace of God still shines in us and from us to all living things that share our life. We will forgive them all, absolving all the world of what we thought it did to us. For it is we who make the world as we would have it. Now we choose that it be innocent, devoid of sin, and open to salvation, and we lay our saving blessing on it as we say, "The peace of God is shining in me now. Let all things shine upon me in that peace, and let me bless them with the light in me." Now we are in the commentary by Robert Perry and Alan Watson. My mind drew a blank for a minute. Lesson 188, The peace of God is shining in me now. The purpose of this lesson is to go past thoughts of the outer world and so experience the peace of God shining in you now. This brief taste of your goal will strengthen your resolve to reach it completely. So the meditation is at least 5 minutes, ideally 30 or more. I will do a separate 15-minute meditation if you would like to join with me. This is a meditation in which you seek to contact the peace of God shining in you now. To make sense of the discussion of thoughts in paragraphs 6 through 9, you might imagine that your thought is a stream or current that stretches all the way from the world outside, which is where your thoughts are focused now, to its source at the center of your being. At the outside of the stream, your thoughts are tainted by the dream of worldly things outside yourself, full of strange desires and disordered wishes. As the stream moves inward, however, your thoughts become honest thoughts that actually lead you back to peace. They seek the light in you, the peace of God in you. Finally, at the inmost part of the stream, they become the thoughts we share with God, thoughts that are at one with His peace. Your task in this meditation is to follow this stream inward, to move your thought and your attention from the stream's outermost place to its innermost place. Begin by withdrawing your thoughts from their focus outside. As you withdraw them, they become washed clean, and they will start to draw you inward, for they feel the call of God. Now let your thoughts fly to the peace within. Trust that they know the way. Let them draw you along the stream until you reach its source and rest in God. As your thought reaches the peace of God within, know that that peace will extend from your heart around the world, blessing each living thing and returning to you with all the gifts you gave. From you, salvation radiates with gifts beyond all measure, given and returned. So remember, on the hour, 1 or 2 minutes, reduce if circumstances do not permit. Repeat, the peace of God is shining in me now. Let all things shine upon me in that peace, and let me bless them with the light in me. Then draw your attention inward and seek the peace of God within you. Finish by thanking God for His gifts in the hour gone by and asking for His guidance in the hour to come. Response to temptation. When you're tempted to blame the world for what you thought it did to you, realize that the world hasn't done anything to you. What you see is what you chose. So choose that the world will be pure and innocent and lay your saving blessing on it. By repeating, the peace of God is shining in me now. Let all things shine upon me in that peace, and let me bless them with the light in me. Commentary by Alan Watson. I always seem to hear the emphasis in this sentence on the last word, now. It speaks to me of the holy instant. It tells me that whatever storms seem to be raging in my mind, whatever chaotic circumstances I find myself in, there is within me a constant beacon of peace, forever shining, uninterrupted and uninterruptible. It calls me to stop for a moment, withdraw my attention from all the turmoil that makes up my life in this world, and reconnect to that peace. Somewhere within me there is a place that is always at perfect peace, like the eye of a hurricane, and I can find that place any time I choose to do so, truly desiring to find it. The Course is consistent in its vision. Nothing separates us from the love of God. Complete salvation, perfect peace, pure joy, and full forgiveness are always available right now. Enlightenment is but a recognition, not a change at all. What we call enlightenment is simply recognizing the presence of the light, which has never left us. It is realizing the only reason we cannot see the light is that we have our hands over our eyes. Let me try to say that again. My words are jumbling. I apologize. It is realizing that the only reason we cannot see the light is that we have our hands over our eyes. That is why we need do nothing. We don't have to do, we simply undo. We stop blocking the light, which is always there. The particular block being addressed in this lesson, you'll recall that the series of lessons was billed as directly addressing certain specific blocks, is simply the tendency to see enlightenment as a future thing. The opening words sound the keynote. Why wait for heaven? Why wait to find it in the future or believe it has been lost already or was never there? All that we need to do is discover its reality is to look for it within ourselves, where it has always been. But the peace of God is not only within me, it's shining in me. The peace of God is shining in you now, and from your heart extends around the world. I may feel as bottled up as Custer at the last stand. I may feel as fertile as the Sahara, but from within my being, nevertheless, the peace of God is being broadcast like a universal beacon to the entire world. My right mind is extending itself in global beneficence to all creation, pausing to create each living thing. What a beautiful image that brings to my mind. And leaving an everlasting blessing with whatever it touches. That is part of what I am bringing to my awareness. That is part of the picture of myself that I am learning to recognize each time I stop, become quiet, and look within. When the Course tells within me there is even now, and even in my darkest moments, a living flow of thoughts of light. There is a heavenly current constantly surging through me to extend love and blessing to the world and to myself. That flow of thoughts is something I can, in the holy instant, become aware of and tune into. Accept His word for what you are. That is what this lesson is calling on us to do. We read of the Christ, we read of the Buddha and his heart of compassion. The Buddha is you, and that is Jesus' message to us, that we are as He is. He that saith he abideth in Him ought himself also so to walk, even as He walked. We are the Christ. That is what we are. That is what we need to accept. It seems too high, too far beyond our concept of ourselves. But in the holy instant, in the quiet, when we withdraw from the world and let our thoughts fly to the peace within, we can know ourselves in this way. We can sense the depth of love that wants to express itself through us. Oh, we may not do such a great job just yet at letting that love out. We may get in the way more often than not. But the love that would embrace the world, heal its wounds, and dry its tears is in us and is us. We all know that is so if we are willing to look at it. We can look upon the whole world today and everyone within it, and we can say, we will forgive them all, absolving all the world from what we thought it did to us. Now we choose that it be innocent, devoid of sin, and open to salvation. And we lay our saving blessing on it as we say, the peace of God is shining in me now. Let all things shine upon me in that peace, and let me bless them with the light in me. Thank you for joining with me in this beautiful lesson, 188, the peace of God is shining in me now. I love you. Thank you.